Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia, home of the melodious. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys a post-duel commentary on the Fantasia Non-Meta Tournament Season 1. Now, this tournament took place in December of 2018, and currently, the second season of it is ongoing. So those videos will be coming out after the tournament ends. Now, if you're interested in participating in future Fantasia Non-Meta tournaments, please check out the Discord server. Link to it is in the description down below, and stay tuned inside the tournament's channel where we'll post updates on when we're going to be hosting the next season. So with that being said, guys, please grab some popcorn and sit back. This is going to be a doozy, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright guys, so starting off in round 1, game 1 of the Fantasia Non-Meta Tournament, I am going against my opponent Rawrberry here, and as you can see, we opened up with a kind of not so great hand. So in this version of Spellbook Magician Girls, which is what I'm playing, you really want to have more of your Spellbook cards in the beginning of the duel to help you generate some advantage, set up your field, and all that good stuff, right? So I just go ahead and do the only thing I really can do at this point, which is normal summon my Berry Magician Girl, search out a Choco, and then next turn, hopefully, Choco can go ahead and be summoned and help kind of cycle through my deck, get more draws with my Apple and my Lemon as discard fodder. So it looks like my opponent here is playing with Gimmick Puppets, and Gimmick Puppets are a deck that are really known for being able to OTK. Rank 8 spams and access to things like their, what was it, the 7 Sins or whatever that giant rank 10 or 11 spider card is. But anyway, he goes ahead, makes Cleaver Genius. I was like, oh, well, that's okay. That's completely fine with me. And then he reveals, well, Infernal Reckless Summon on his Dreary Doll, which is not good for me. Yeah, this thing is putting a bunch of monsters on his side of the field. Cleaver Genius can get a search, and now he has this whatever rank 8 boss monster for Gimmick Puppets is. I did manage to get, additional Berry Magician Girls, which is kind of cool, but yeah, I don't really think I'm going to be able to stop the onslaught of my opponent's attack at this point. And here I'm like, just looking at my hand, I don't really have anything for next turn. I mean, I could Spellbook a Power, but that's not enough to attack over anything in particular. And yeah, my only hope is to hope for a draw phase and have a Chocolate Magician Girl. But here we have, yep, that's right, Pain Gainer coming out, and 7 Sins being overlaid right on top of that. So, well, there goes my field of potential Berry Magician Girls summoning a bunch of stuff from my deck, and that is not good for me. 1800 from the Cleaver Genius, a bunch of damage from this Gimmick Puppet, whatever thingy, 3000 there, and then we also have, of course, the 7 Sins coming in as well. So, a bunch of damage, 4000 to finish me off. Yeah, that was a quick game 1, right? Wasn't really the best start for me. This deck does like to go first because I do have a bunch of options that are available to me, assuming I get to set up with it. As you can see, here's the deck list, and I'm going to go into the siding process, so that's something I want to start covering in these tournament-related videos. Now, I didn't really do anything here for this, because I was like, you know what, I think my deck can do this as long as I have enough disruption, right? As long as I have enough disruption, I don't really think I need to side in anything against this deck. So here, I chose to go second because now I know he's playing, and that means that I can play around that. His deck is very OTK like focused in my opinion, from what I can see from my first duel with him. So that's why I decided, you know what, let's go second, let's see if I can get some better draws. This opening hand is much better. Obviously we have our trump card here, Punch in the Box, and we also have Magician's Defense, and we have Blue Boy, which is searching out secrets, Master, I have Knowledge, I have Raigeki to clear boards, I even have a Magician Girl in hand just as moral support. She's not going to really do anything here, but hey, as long as we have her, right? So I want to go for Spellbook Secrets, go for the search for Master. Master is now searching for the Spellbook Tower. This is setting up for my next turn because I really want to have something to help me draw through my deck, right? I need more cards. Now, I get rid of my own blue boy, right? I get rid of the blue boy, and I use the knowledge for that. Get 2 more draws. That's pretty good. Drew into my moral support Dark Magician Girl here, really not for any reason besides being Dark Magician Girl. This was me not taking the non-meta tournament very seriously, just kind of trolling around, having some fun with some of my favorite archetypes. So, yeah, end up just passing turn with Magician's Defense set. It doesn't really do anything. I have to have a Spellcaster in order for the halving damage effect to come into play. And then I also have Punch in the Box set, which is fantastic, because if he gets baited into attacking me, well, that's great. Now, now I can just kind of destroy his stuff. Punch in the Box sends to the graveyard, so it doesn't target, it doesn't do any of that. It does target for the initial effect where you target the monster that's attacking and negate its attack. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. He goes for the Gear Gigant X, I think it is, and then he goes for a search for Humpty Dumpty, which is, you know, alright, that's fine. Or I think he searched Humpty Dumpty, or maybe that's just what he detached. But anyway, Gear Gigant X just attacking for a little bit of damage. I'm like, oh, well, that's good. I still have, you know, potential to come back into this duel, right? And here is an amazing top deck. I got a Chocolate Magician Girl, which can help me cycle through my Dark Magician Girl and my Apple, which is fantastic. Now, the Spellbook Tower comes into play, drawn to a Knowledge here, which is great. Knowledge is fantastic with Spellbook of Life, because Spellbook of Life is an equipped spell, kind of just stays on your field. If you knowledge that away, your monster still stays on the field, which is great. So this is definitely a time where I might consider actually using it and putting more bodies on board. Now, I don't have anything big enough to attack over the Gear Gigant X at this point, so I'm trying to think, like, do I want to tap into the extra deck? Do I want to, like, you know, do some shenanigans here? I end up banishing Blue Boy from the graveyard, revealing the knowledge in my hand to summon the Apple Magician Girl from my graveyard using the Spellbook of Life, because I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of just want, like, more monsters on the field, not only for potential, you know, use for link materials and things like that, but also just to use that Spellbook of Knowledge. In this case, Call by the Grave coming in clutch, getting rid of that apple, so no spellcasters in Grave, which kind of sucks because Chocolate can't have anything to revive, but I guess we're in an okay situation right here, because we still have Punch in the Box in our back row, and Magician's Defense as well. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to show you that Spellbook of Life, Spellbook of Knowledge combo, which is quite unfortunate, and he gets another search with his Gear Gigant X, which is not good for me. He has 5 cards in hand after summoning his Humpty Dumpty. Yeah, this is not looking good, but I'm feeling kind of safe in terms of surviving an OTK because of my back row. So here, normal summons the Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty summons out the Dreary Doll. And Dreary Doll, of course, was that monster that enabled the OTK last time, which was huge. So as long as he does not have, you know, Infernal Reckless Summon or whatever, then we'll be in a pretty good situation. So at this point, you know, I'm thinking, what can he do? Cleafor Genius or something? Which is a way to actually bypass Chocolate Magician Girl. But, you know, I don't have anything in graveyard right now, so I don't know what he's going to do. I do have a Raigeki in hand. But the thing to note about Raigeki is that it's good for clearing boards, is not so good at getting rid of something like the 7 Sins, which has, well, built-in protection, right, from destruction, so that's not really great. Cleafor Genius, though, gonna go ahead and get summoned here. Dreary Doll banishing Humpty Dumpty, summoning itself out from the graveyard. Yep, that's right, and there we go, that's the Infernal Reckless Summon. Whew, yeah, this looks like it's going to be a quick one, right? So, 2 more Dreary Dolls coming out to the field. I get to summon a Chocolate Magician Girl, which is fantastic, except the fact that I don't have anything in graveyard to use her effect with. Magician's Defense, though, does allow me to halve the damage that I would take, which is kind of good. Pretty decent, but in this situation, you know, kind of not flipping it face up now, just waiting to see if he's going to do anything. He goes for the Pain Gainer yet again, and then I don't, yep, there we go, he can use its effect and nuke my board, so rest in peace my Chocolate Magician Girls. At this point, you know, my Magician's Defense doesn't do anything, can't have any damage because I don't have any spellcasters on my side of the field. We see Woo Witch's Apprentice being summoned here as well, but the thing to note is that I do have Punch in the box, the trump card of this deck. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I do have the option to activate the punch in the box here, which I do. I target that monster, say, hey, you know what, let me send away your 7 sins that has that built-in protection, by the way. Remember that Raigeki cannot get rid of it. And then I make the attack of his monster get decreased by 4,000, so he has 0 attack monster inside the field now. And he only really has a Cleave Genius now, so that's pretty good for me. The 0 attack on this monster is a permanent, right? This is not something that just until the end of the turn. Punch in the box is fantastic as a card. I love this card so much. You will see it a lot throughout this, as I cover this first season of the non-meta tournament. It is so clutch. Okay, so anyway, being able to decrease my opponent's monster's attack to 0 is fantastic because Magician Girls are tiny. There's a reason why I named this deck Fruity Pebbles, right? Is because these things are just like little pieces of cereal. They don't do anything to you. So here we go. Starting off, we have our Spellbook Tower coming in, getting us a draw. Now we have our Spellbook engine back in place. Secrets into Blue Boy. Blue Boy gonna go for a search. I could potentially grab something like Master, I believe, yeah. Or, you know, use Master, get another search, kind of fill in the graveyard. That's like the standard Spellbook shenanigans and plays, right? So I do also have Knowledge and I have Power. I have so many things that I can use now. And because his monster has 0 attack, Spellbook Power can actually boost my monster up. I can attack into it. I can grab another search during the battle phase, so that's something to keep in mind. Now here I'm going for one of the powerhouses of the deck, the card that puts this deck on the map in terms of this tournament, which is Spellbook of Fate. Spellbooks are so powerful, and there's a reason why Fate was limited to 1 way back then, right? So grabbing that Fate here and using the power, as I said earlier, using the power on the Blue Boy, so it just boosts him up, deal some extra damage, but also get that really nice search at the end of the battle phase right here after I attack into him, which is really nice. Wee Witch's Apprentice will obviously be able to recover a dark monster from his graveyard. He's gonna grab Humpty Dumpty back, which kind of sucks for me, but hey, it doesn't really matter at this point because I'm in full control of the duel. I have an available board wipe in my hand. I have additional draw power as well in the form of Knowledge. I have Life now, which can put another spellcaster onto my side of the field if I really want to, which I am in this case. Having more defenses is actually really good. So what I'm doing here is I'm revealing the Fate because he knows I have a Fate in hand because I searched it. I'm gonna special summon the Chocolate Magician Girl from my graveyard, discard the Dark Magician Girl, getting that spellcaster into the graveyard, right? So if Chocolate Magician Girl gets attacked, she can revive it. So now, gonna go for that Knowledge and Life play, that combo right here, where, see, Chocolate Magician Girl stays on the field, I just get 2 extra cards, which is huge. Now I draw into this Magician's Restage, I believe it's called, and Restage is fantastic, because if it's sent to the graveyard, by any means, discard it from hand, from the field to the grave, deck to the grave, you get to search a Magician's spell card. So Magician's right hand or Magician's left hand. One of them negates the trap card. First trap card your opponent would activate, trap card or effect, it will negate it, and then the I believe the right hand negates the spells. I forget which one's which. It's kind of confusing for me, but one negates the first spell card or spell effect that would activate, so that's also huge. Now here I make a really dumb misplay. I activate the Raigeki to try to get rid of the Cleave Genius, which was really dumb because I forgot that Cleave Genius is unaffected by spell and trap card effects and the effects of other Link monsters as well. So rest in peace Raigeki. I spoke very highly of that board wipe in my hand and I just threw it away, which was really dumb, but hey. We're still in this duel, right? We're still here. We still have a damage reduction in our back row. We have Chocolate Magician Girl as a defense against attacks, so he has to kind of nuke my Chocolate Magician Girl somehow, or negate it with Cleave Genius. I also have Spellbook of Fate, so I have a lot of disruption here that's available to me. I set the Magician's Restage though, just in case he tries to destroy some back row, because if I set 1 card, he would know that 1 card is going to be Fate, but because I'm setting 2, he doesn't know which one is Fate, and if he has some removal and he pops the wrong one, if he pops Restage, then that allows me to grab a search. Restage also has a built-in Monster Reborn effect for a level 3 or lower spellcaster, so I can bring back like most of my Magician Girls, Berry, Lemon, Apple, or I can bring back something like Blue Boy right here that's on my field right now. So if I ever go for a Link Summon, it goes to the graveyard, I can revive it, bring it back, go for more Link Summons, just Link Climb, and all those shenanigans, right? So my opponent here is popping off Humpty Dumpty into whatever that level 1 guy is, and then Dreary Doll banishing a Humpty Dumpty from the graveyard, summoning itself back out, and we have that boss monster yet again coming out, the Gimmick Puppet rank 8. Now at this point I'm like, you know what, I don't think I really want to deal with any more of your shenanigans, so flip over the Spellbook of Fate. I have so many Spellbook resources in my graveyard, so I'm going to go ahead and banish some duplicates, things like Master and Knowledge and things like that I know I have multiple copies of, and then banish that rank 8 monster. I do not want it coming back out. Now, Dreary Doll here can only use the effect once per turn, so I'm not afraid of it just coming back and doing more shenanigans, so that's good. Now, my opponent goes ahead and declares an attack on me. I flip over the Magician's Defense, halves the damage that I take, which is really good because I'm pretty low on life points relative to my opponent. And in a non-meta tournament setting, you know, there is no like time limit or anything, so I don't have to worry too much as long as my life points don't reach 0. Because keep in mind, I am 1 game down. My opponent took the first game. So here, Magician's Restage, activated right now, gonna go ahead, use its effect, yeah, that's right, bring back my blue boy from the graveyard. Now, it is important to note that I did draw into Magical Hats, which is huge in this deck. I love Magical Hats so much, because it works so well with Magician's Defense and Magician's Restage, which is fantastic. So go ahead, go for the Knowledge. Knowledge sends away the extra Grand Tower Spellbook thingies, Field Spell, and get 2 draws. So I got the Instant Fusion, and I got Magician's, what is that? I think the right hand? I forget which one, but this is one that negates the first spell card that will be activated. So no more Infernal Reckless Summon shenanigans and things like that from my opponent here. So I'm gonna go ahead, activate that Instant Fusion, paying 1,000 life points, which is a lot at this point. It's kind of risky, but what I can get from this is huge, which means I can get this Thousand Eyes Restrict, and I can take away that Cleafort Genius. That's right, Cleafort Genius was really the only big, like, threat that was there, so I got rid of it, which is good. Now at this point, I have the option to go for Link Climbing, and this is actually pretty big because I have access to things like Link Karibo, because Berry Magician Girl and Thousand Eyes Restrict can summon it. Have stuff like Space Installator and things as well, because, you know, there's some extra deck monsters that weren't available to us during this non-meta tournament, and I just kind of use it as like filler, just, you know, to link climb into things, and then on a subsequent turn, if I summon a Cyberse monster, it comes back from the graveyard, allows me to kind of link climb into a higher link monster as well. So pretty decent card overall, I really like it. I decided to go for the Link Karibo though, just to give me some defensive capabilities, and then I end up making a Space Installator right here, which is huge. Space Installator, and then I go into the Ningirsu. Now Ningirsu is a really powerful monster because it doesn't target, doesn't destroy, just sends stuff to the graveyard. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send my Magician's Defense, and if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, I can revive any spellcaster type monster from my graveyard. So I can revive Thousand Eyes Restrict. In fact, if I use the Instant Fusion on El Shadal Winda, could have revived the Winda as well. But in this case, went for the Chocolate Magician Girl, felt like this was more important to have, just in case my opponent declares an attack, I can revive more things from my graveyard. Ningirsu's at 2500 attack, so I'm feeling pretty safe here. Now it's also important to know I have Magical Hat, so if somehow my Chocolate Magician Girl gets negated and my opponent declares an attack on her, or just enters the battle phase in general, I can flip over the Magical Hats and get some wonky stuff going on. Allure of Darkness being negated by that left hand, or right hand, whatever it is. I really should get that name right, but getting negated is the first spell card my opponent activated. Not sure if you knew what the hand did, but hey, it stopped the Allure of Darkness, which is really good. So, the hands are actually a big defensive component in this deck because it's every single turn the effect resets. It's not just like a once when this card is on the field type of thing. So this is absolutely brilliant for me. So he goes ahead, normal summons the level 1 guy, summons the Dreary Doll. Level 1 guy I think can change to level 8. It just targets the level 8 Dreary Doll and changes itself to level 8. He goes to the Pain Gainer. Pain Gainer uses his effect, and I'm like, ooh, well, that's not good. It's gonna start nuking my field. And I believe it destroys things that has attack lower than its defense. I believe that's what Pain Gainer's effect is. So here I'm just reading it, seeing if I want to drop this Kiwi, because if I drop the Kiwi, it'll boost up the attack of my Chocolate Magician Girl, and then she might not be destroyed by the effect. So that's what I'm considering at this moment in time. I'm just checking my graveyard, seeing my options. Well, you know, what's the plus side? How much attack will I be gaining with this Kiwi? And then I decided, oh well, you know what? That's not really going to be enough. So just let it slide. Chocolate Magician Girl goes away, and he has his he has his 7 sins now. His boss monster of the deck. Destroys the Ningirsu, which is quite a shame because Ningirsu would have been another out potentially to this 7 sins. Now, at this point, Spellbook Tower has to get me something, because if I don't get something here, I am going to die. Now, 7 Sins also has this effect where it can detach 2 materials and just banish all special summon monsters the opponent controls, and then attach one of them as material to itself. So this card is incredible. But what put me back in the game was this Grand Spellbook Tower, which is why I got it early, because the extra draw that you get every turn is great for resource management, getting more cards, right? So drawn to the Berry Magician Girl, I'm like, oh, thank you, right? I have this magical hats. I am feeling safe. I'm feeling safe. Berry Magician Girl's right here. It's looking pretty good. Go for the search. Go for the Lemon Magician Girl. I believe I was just running out of options. I know both my chocolates were gone and things like that, so didn't really have too much going on here, but Berry Magician Girl is great because I can special summon something from my deck if she gets attacked or if she gets targeted by a card effect, which is something that not many people realize. People will try and target her with a card effect to try to get rid of her so that they don't have to battle her, but then her effect triggers regardless. So we have the level 4 Scissors being summoned by the Gimmick Puppets. It's like a Foolish Burial, kind of sends another copy of a Gimmick Puppet to the graveyard and kind of just fuels the Jury Doll, right? So Jury Doll goes ahead, activates her effect, and special summons itself from the graveyard yet again. You see a pattern going on with Gimmick Puppets? Yeah, that's a good card right there. So what's going on here is I am hoping, just hoping, that he attacks into my berry or enters the battle phase, but because he knew that I have Punch in the Box from the first for the first interaction that we had getting rid of his 7 sins, he's not going to declare an attack, and also because Berry can summon something from the deck. So he's giving me another turn, so this is like a psychological war going on right now. Now, here's something important to keep in mind. I drew into a spell book of life, and guess what's in my graveyard that I could potentially revive? Yeah, that's right. Thousand Eyes Restrict. So Thousand Eyes Restrict is another out to 7 sins, because 7 sins can't be destroyed by card effects, but it can be targeted. And that is something very important to note. So I do have the option to consider some other things, such as potentially getting what is it? Getting Dark Magician Girl on the field and like getting enough attack to attack over his monsters, and kind of with the help of Kiwi's boost, of course, to kind of get enough damage to just swing for some game right here. So I'm just doing some calculations in my head. I have Lemon in my hand. I could normal summon her. I could use it as like a link material for a link summon, and I can also just Tribute Berry off to search for another spellcaster type monster in my from my deck if I need to. But I'm just going to go ahead, enter the battle phase. We're going to attack over the Jury Doll, right? That was just, I don't know why he summoned it, really. It's just kind of there in defense mode. So he just banished a card from his graveyard for no real apparent reason. So going to the main phase 2, right? I'm looking at my extra deck, seeing if I have any options. Ooh, and I see the Akashic Magician, which is actually kind of big, because Akashic Magician can get rid of his 7 sins if I need to. The thing is, I'm not in a huge rush to get rid of 7 sins because of the fact that he has to attack me. Like, the 7 sins can't activate because I don't have any special summon monsters on my side of the field, and that's big. Now, at this point, he's entering the battle phase. I have 2 magical hats, and I have a Punch in the Box. So this will be a huge deciding factor in how this duel is going to end up, because I'm really low on life points. My opponent's getting there, right? Magician Girls have a hard time dealing damage. So 7 sins is declaring the attack, and that's smart. Because if you declare the attack with this other monster, Punch in the Box can get rid of 7 sins. So in this case, I don't want to use Punch in the Box here because I want to save it for the 7 sins. But what I can do is I can actually activate Magical Hats, and Magical Hats can help me save my monsters by putting them face down. I can also get some additional resources out from my deck, right? If I get a restage, I can search out another hand, all this good stuff. So Lemon Magician Girl is Chain Link 1, and then I have a Chain Link 2 of my Magical Hats, and Magical Hats allows me to go ahead, put the Lemon Magician Girl face down. I'm just getting random spellbook stuff, and then restage as well here. So restage can go ahead and Monster Reborn for me in a bit, which is going to be really nice. And then Lemon Magician Girl is going to go ahead and summon the Kiwi from my hand. Yeah, that's right. Now, the thing is, 7 Sins attack gets halved, right? And its attack also gets redirected to Kiwi Magician Girl. Now, unfortunately, Kiwi wasn't strong enough to survive a 2000 attack monster, but it's okay. His other monster declares an attack, and I go ahead and activate Berry Magician Girl here to go ahead and special summon a monster from my deck, and yeah, there we go. Punch in the Box coming out yet again. So Punch in the Box is huge for removing my opponent's monster. Goodbye 7 Sins, and here we go. Kiwi Magician Girl hitting the field, bringing that protection to my monsters. Now they cannot be targeted, and they cannot be destroyed by card effects. So the only way to kill my Magician Girls now is by battle. I also have a lock on the field with the first spell card my opponent plays every turn is going to be negated. I also grabbed another copy of the right hand just in case, right? So just getting more resources, getting more cards in hand is always fantastic. My deck is really thin right now. I've gone through so many things. And I also have another copy of Magical Hats as well. Lemon Magician Girl managed to survive. It's still face down, which is pretty good. Now my opponent goes ahead and summons the other scissors, right? The other level 4. Goes ahead, uses Foolish Burial effect, sends the Egghead or whatever to the graveyard, and he summons Evil Swarm Nightmare. So here I'm like, oh well, that's okay. Evil Swarm Nightmare is gonna be fine. I can always make a Link monster, and Link monsters can't be flipped face down, which means that I'm gonna be looking pretty good in terms of being able to out his Nightmare. Now he does set one back row, and I don't know what kind of back row he plays, so I'm gonna be a little bit cautious here. Might go ahead and try to get rid of it first before I do anything. But hey, look, Spellbook of Tower coming in clutch yet again, drawing into a copy of Spellbook of Fate. Yep. Fate can go ahead and just remove that Evil Swarm Nightmare so I can attack for a game, or I can get rid of that back row, just bounce it back to the hand, can just banish it from the field, whatever I really want to. So I'm considering, yeah, you know what I really want to do, I have enough spellbooks in my graveyard by now that I can just banish if I need to. So banishing 3 copies of some spellbooks in the grave, and I am going to banish a card on the field. So gonna get rid of that Evil Swarm Nightmare, of course, because that Evil Swarm Nightmare has a 1950 defense, which is quite big. None of my monsters can really get rid of it, so that's something important to keep in mind. Now, I don't have any monster normal summon, so what I'm doing here is I'm using Lemon Magician Girl. Gonna go ahead, tribute off the Berry Magician Girl from my side of the field, which isn't really doing anything on her own, right? So I can go ahead and go for a search for another Berry Magician Girl. This allows me to normal summon her and grab a search, so I'm just cycling through cards, just grabbing advantage. Whatever cards that I can, I'm going to get, right? Just to set up, just in case I cannot get, game this turn. But there he goes ahead and reveals the Call by the Grave. So this actually doesn't really matter for me because of my right hand, which negates the Call by the Grave. It doesn't go through, and I have completely cleared my opponent's board. So at this point, yeah, that's right, we have enough to potentially just go for game with Kiwi and all that stuff. So gonna ensure that I have enough, so I'm gonna go ahead, Master gonna go ahead and grab that Eternity. Eternity is gonna go ahead and grab back a Secrets from my banished pile, just kind of recycle my resources just in case I need another copy of Fate. Because you never know, if your opponent's not scooping, you don't know what's in their hand. He could have had a Battle Fader, and then next turn he could top deck a Raigeki. You really don't know, and I'm just playing it safe right here. So I have Berry, Lemon, Kiwi on my side of the field. I'm looking through my extra deck. Do I really need to summon anything? I might want to summon another monster just to get some extra damage because I don't think I had enough to swing for game. I think he has 2,400 life points. So yeah, went ahead for the Akashic Magician, and I'm going to attack with the Akashic Magician first. And yep, deal that damage right there. And then Kiwi gonna go ahead and finish things off. Whew, so that was game number 2. A lot of back and forth right here, and that's what I really love about the non-meta tournament. So for those of you who did not manage to play in the first one, which was a test kind of run, just within people in the server, which is why I didn't make an announcement for it. And if you missed the signups for Season 2, which I posted up I think a week before Christmas or whatever, where a lot of you guys might be on winter break, if you missed that one, then that's okay, because Season 3 might be coming sometime shortly. Season 2 is right now currently in progress, so if you want to check those duels out, well, you're gonna have to be patient because I need to go through Season 1 first, but it's going on in the Discord right now. If you want to go ahead, hop in the Discord just in case, you know, you forget later down the line to join the Discord, to join the future tournaments. You know, just hop in for now, join it, and just stick around, have some fun. You can also spectate some of the duels that are going on. People share their passwords for those games all the time. So, going into game 3, I decided, okay, he's probably going to be scared of my back row, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Waking the Dragons into my main deck. So took some cards out, put Waking the Dragons in. Now, Waking the Dragons is going to be fantastic here if I could pull it off. If my opponent goes ahead and destroys Waking the Dragons, right, banishes it, just destroys it, whatever, I can go ahead and summon any monster from my deck or extra deck to my side of the field, which means I have access to things like Ultimate Falcon, and if you're wondering why Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight's there in my extra deck, this is the reason why. So I can just meme and just summon her just for fun. She's not really like the most practical thing. Like, nobody's ever gonna summon Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight with Waking the Dragons, right? Except me. So go ahead and set the Waking the Dragons, set the Spellbook of Fate. Fate cannot be activated here because I don't have a spellcaster monster on my side of the field, which is a shame, but it's okay. Now, I used Knowledge, drew some cards, I have another Secrets in hand, so I can use it for next turn, and this opening hand's kind of not looking too good yet again, right? This is not great. Lemon, Apple, Kiwi, very reminiscent of that first duel that happened. So, opponent goes and uses Humpty Dumpty, summons something else from his hand, goes for the Wee Witch's Apprentice. Now he can also summon this other rank 8 Gimmick Puppet out from his hand, I think it's like a gear or whatever. And now Drury Doll can special summon itself out by banishing the Humpty Dumpty in the graveyard. And, oh, you know what happens when they're Drury Doll. Yep, there we go. There's that rank 8 Gimmick Puppet monster coming out yet again. Gonna rank up into the Pain Gainer, and Pain Gainer is gonna go ahead and rank up yet again into the 7 Sins. That's right. So we're not in a really great position, but the good thing is my opponent does not have Reckless Infernal Reckless Summon, whatever, Reckless Infernal Summon, so he can't establish a bunch of monsters on the field and just OTK me like he did in game 1. Still a lot of damage though. Apprentice Illusion 1900, and then boosts up the it actually boosts up the 7 Sins, so 4500 attack from that thing. My opponent's setting 2 back row, which I'm like, ooh, yikes, that's not good. But I draw into the Spellbook of Power, which is not bad. It can actually get me a search if I play this correctly, I believe. I can attack over the Wee Witch's Apprentice, so that's a good thing. So go ahead and Spellbook of Secrets, gonna go for the Spellbook of the Master. Now it's a good thing I had power in hand, because now I can reveal the power and then, you know, go from there. So, in order to use Master, I need a Spellbook monster, or not Spellbook monster, Spellcaster monster on my side of the field. So go ahead, normal summon the Apple Magician Girl. The reason I go for Apple is because, well, Lemon is too low to kind of benefit from Spellbook of Power, so I can't attack over the Apprentice, Wee Witch's Apprentice. So with the Apple on the field, 1200 attack, I can boost it to 22, which is enough to attack over the Wee Witch's Apprentice to go for a search. Activate the Spellbook of the Master, gonna target the Spellbook of Secrets in the graveyard, so I can go ahead and copy its effect, and, you know, grab a search. Now, this was really risky for me because I really didn't know what to do at this point. I do have access to Fate, which is a good thing, but now I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go for the Spellbook of Knowledge right here. And the thing with Spellbook of Knowledge is this: if I activate Spellbook of Knowledge, right, and then I chain Spellbook of Fate, so I don't have to send away that Spellbook of Power. Because I chained Spellbook of Fate, it is now face up on my side of the field. So Fate is going to resolve, right? I'm going to banish 3 Spellbook cards from my graveyard, and I can banish a card on my opponent's side of the field, which is obviously going to be the 7 Sins. And then when Knowledge resolves, Fate is still on the field, so I can send that Fate that I just used, and then go ahead and just get 2 free draws, right? So I'm basically going +1 with this. It's like a pot of greed, right? Which is fantastic. draw into a copy of Raigeki and a Spellbook of Eternity, so I can use Eternity, grab back that Secrets that I just banished with my Spellbook of Fate. See, look at this synergy right here. I absolutely love this deck for its consistency, and it's one of my favorite Magician Girl builds, to be honest. If you're looking for a Magician Girl deck to play casually for fun, not necessarily going up against the meta, of course, but this deck is actually fantastic. I had a blast just playing with this one. So gonna go ahead and use my Apple Magician Girl boosted up by power to attack into the Wee Witch's Apprentice, and yeah, grab a search. So that's gonna be good. Now the thing is, Spellbook of Power can activate, but Wee Witch's Apprentice activates as well. So here, he is able to actually recover a monster from his graveyard, a dark monster, and add it back to his hand. So whether it be Humpty Dumpty or the gear, whatever, he can do that. Now, at this point, Spellbook of Power can go for a search, and I'm thinking, well, Grand Spellbook Tower would actually be a really good option here, because I can't, you know, really do anything else this turn, but Spellbook of Fate, though, because I'm so low on life points. Look at my life points compared to my opponents, right? So Spellbook of Fate is the only disruption interaction that I really have that I can search. I'm obviously going to set it away from my opponent's back row just in case he has impermanence or something that can negate it if it's in the same column, so setting it off to the side. Important thing here is that I went in with this like not knowing if my opponent was playing any back row removal. I just knew that Waking the Dragons would be great if it got hit, right? So Waking the Dragons is still just chilling there in the back row. Now, Fate is my only form of disruption. I would have loved to get Grand Spellbook Tower. If I already had Fate, definitely would have gone for Spellbook Tower. Gets me the extra draw, and you saw how powerful that extra draw was every turn in that last game. It came in so clutch. Gave me the berries, gave me all the Spellbook cards I needed, gave me the resources to help me grind my opponent out. So at this point, I'm kind of low in terms of resource management. I don't really have too many ways to recycle things. I do have a Secrets in hand that I can use next turn, right? But the Fate is really the only thing I have to fall back on. Now, if he attacks into Apple, I can summon something like Lemon, and then Lemon can activate, I can summon Kiwi from my hand, which is good to get some field presence on the field, but it's not really like going to prevent me from dying, per se, because I have so little life points. So he's gonna go ahead, do his Gimmick Puppet shenanigans, you know, all that stuff that they've been doing this entire time, and he summons his rank 8 Gimmick Puppet XYZ yet again. I'm like, you know what? It worked out pretty well last time. I'm not sure if he has a follow-up play. If he had like a Soul Charge or something, I'd be like, oof, that's bad. But you know, even if he did have a Soul Charge, he at least loses his battle phase. So I'm gonna get rid of his XYZ here, because it worked in the last game. I got rid of the XYZ, he kind of just passed his turn, because he didn't really have anything else he could do, and thankfully he did not have another follow-up play. 2 set back from 1 card in hand, and he just passed his turn back to me, so I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. Right now I just need an extra turn. That's all I really need. And I drew into a blue boy for turn as well, which is fantastic. So now Spellbook of Secrets can go for the search. I'm just checking my graveyard and my banish pile just to see, you know, what cards I have left in my deck. So I do realize I do have Spellbook Tower, I have Spellbook of the Master, which is really good. I also have another copy of Knowledge, which might come in handy. So gonna go for the search, probably going to get the Spellbook of the Master. Oh wait, no. Yeah, I could get Spellbook of the Master actually, because if I normal summon my blue boy, I could search a Spellbook card, and then, you know, Master can reveal that Spellbook card and go from there. But I think I did that in reverse here. So I did Secrets for the Tower, and now I'm normal summoning the blue boy, and blue boy is going to grab a Master, I believe. Master would get me another search, yeah? I think that's what I end up doing. So, yep, here we go. Considered the Master, got the Master. Yep, that's right. Going for the Master, there's a lot of Masters. Reveal that Spellbook Tower in hand. Gonna copy the effect of a card in my graveyard and go for the Eternity. Eternity can grab back one of my banished cards, and guess what's in my banish pile? Yeah, that's right. A copy of Spellbook of Fate. So I'm gonna grab back that Spellbook of Fate, just add it to my hand, because again, disruption, 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 right? This Spellbook of Fate is going to be huge in terms of helping me survive my opponent's onslaught. Okay, so now what I have here is, I don't think I can attack over his monster. I don't remember how much attack his guy has. Oh, yes I can. Okay, so I could barely attack over his monster, which is pretty good. Apple's gonna go deal some damage for me, which is gonna be pretty nice. And I also have Blue Boy there to deal that extra, just tiny little bit of damage. Yep, there we go. Dropping the Kiwi, getting that little boost of attack. Oh, but the Call by the Grave coming out. Not looking good, not looking good. So Kiwi goes bye-bye, and then my Apple crashes. Yep, there we go. 1200 into 1200. So, you know what? It's not the worst thing that could possibly happen, but it's kind of sucks because I did lose my field presence in terms of having that apple to kind of deter my opponent from wanting to battle with me. So that's kind of a shame. Now, it's lucky for me that I have my blue boy on my side of the field, because if I did not, I cannot use Spellbook of Fate. It needs to have a spellcaster type monster on my side of the field. So, Gimmick Puppet in my opponent's graveyard, activating yet again this thing, man. I just really want to banish it. Like, I really want to banish Druid Doll with my Spellbook of Fate, but I always feel like if I do, my opponent's going to have extra stuff and I'm not going to be able to combat it. So that's why I'm just holding off on him, like, you know what, not really going to do this right here, just in case, because I'm not really sure how Gimmick Puppets work. I don't know if they have something that can inherently special summon out from the hand. I don't know if they have something that can, you know, just bring out a boss monster and inflict a ton of damage to me. I need to save that fate for when it's really needed. In this case, because he already uses normal summon, from my experience with the Gimmick Puppets, right, he's really reliant on getting a Druid Doll plus another monster in order to set up his plays. So here, I'm doing exactly what I said that I was going to do earlier, banish that Druid Doll. And now that that's out of circulation, I'm feeling pretty safe. I'm feeling pretty good. So he has that, you know, just tiny attack monster inside the field. Spellbook Tower getting me some more draws. It's a shame that I drew into another copy of Awaken the Dragons. This card like almost never came up. It came up in the tournament. Which is unfortunate because it's a really fun card. So end up going, well, I have Lemon Magician Girl, so I'm gonna normal summon her, and now I'm going to attack over his monster with my blue boy, dealing a little bit of damage, just poking. So this is why I call my deck Fruity Pebbles. Look at this. I can barely deal any damage. My opponent's down so many resources. I just can't pump out anything for the life of me. Okay, so looking into my extra deck, seeing, do I really want to do anything like Phoenix, pop his back row or something? I don't really think so. Set the other copy, Awaken the Dragons, just in case he pulls some shenanigans. Who knows, right? So, yeah, gonna sit on these two. Don't really have anything that can help protect me. Raigeki's not a quick play, so I have to wait until next turn. If he makes a board, though, I can kind of get rid of it. So that's a good thing. Just taking my time here because I know it's game 3. I'm just checking, seeing like, do I really want to do this? Go for the Nightmare Phoenix. Yep, there we go. Just praying that his back row wasn't Solemn Strikes. If it was, I'd be really sad. So, go for the Phoenix and then discard a card from my hand. Gonna go for the pop and destroy the red reboot. Now, this was actually very interesting. I did not think about this card when I was creating my deck. Red Reboot actually is really good against trap cards, so Magical Hats, my Punch in the Box. I'm pretty sure he said he was siding it in for Punch in the Box, at least he told me later. So that's something to keep in mind. Punch in the Box is like my trump card, okay? So what we have here is I drew into Monster Reborn for turn. Hey, that's fantastic. I can revive a big beat stick from my opponent's graveyard. And I also managed to draw into a copy of Chocolate Magician Girl, which is good because it can deal a bunch of damage. Now, I think I have enough damage on board actually. If I go for the Monster Reborn and reborn his monster, his big XYZ, that is, there we go. I believe that's 3000 attack. And so with Phoenix, 1900, and with my Chocolate Magician Girl, 1600, that should be enough to actually just attack for game. So it really came down to me getting his monster with Monster Reborn, Sax with Monster Reborn, man, in 2018. Yeah, that's what happened here. So, Chocolate Magician Girl attacking, Phoenix attacking, and I'm gonna finish him off with his own monster. So, Gimmick Puppet attacking his owner for game. That was game number 3. Oh man, so this was an incredible duel. Anyway guys, that's enough talking from me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.